there, and welcome to the Big Apple School podcast. My name is Sam.
And I'm Barbara.
And today we're asking what's the crack about Proverbs from around the world. So we're going to find out what the difference between wisdom and being smart is. Barbara's going to let us know about that. We'll find out whether we use them every day or whether we should be using them. We're going to look at wisdom. Is it guaranteed with age and with experience? We're going to evaluate some well-known proverbs that we hopefully both know, or at least one of us does. And we're going to look at proverbs from around the world that I've collected for us to discuss. And we'll think about how they might apply to our lives or to other situations. So we're really going to get into it, and maybe you'll remember a proverb or two that you can use in your daily routine or in speaking or whatever. Okay, so proverbs from around the world. Now, before we get really down to the proverbs, we assume that they're wise, but what is the difference between wisdom and being smart?
Well, that's interesting. I think smart could be like you're very clever and you can figure out things. Like, because you need to be clever and smart to start a war, right? To do a war. But then is that the wise thing?
Uh-huh.
And I think, where does this wisdom come from? Aristotle really believed that all of us really knows everything we need to know inside. It's just that we have to listen.
Okay.
And if you have intellectual wisdom, you'll be able to make good judgment. But experience is really important.
Yeah, right. Yeah. I think. Not to call myself wise, I'm not. But I think I've improved with age. I mean, as most people do, and a little bit of experience, a little bit of pain, and that can sometimes give you a little bit of wisdom along with it, if you like. I don't at all. I would say I have a little bit of wisdom, certainly not wise, but a little bit. But I wouldn't call myself smart. Maybe someone else could, but I'm not gonna.
You're very smart.
I'm not gonna tell lies. I don't feel smart. I mean, I consider people smart as those that can remember things, like interesting, valuable information, and maybe use it to calculate, do some mathematics or whatever. And I don't really. Not that I can't do some of that stuff, but I don't really consider myself smart. Maybe someone else can say that about me, but I won't. So I think wisdom is the application of knowledge in the right time, in the right way, in the right situation. It's knowing what to do in the right in the particular situation that you're in, rather than. I mean, you can have lots of facts in your head, but how do you use them? So I think. Personally, I think wisdom's better. The
decision making, the judgment.
Yeah, making good decisions, I think. I guess you could describe it as that, making good decisions, which we all have to make every day, maybe. Okay, so we need a bit more of wisdom. In the Bible, actually, it says, if any man lacks wisdom, let him ask of God, who gives to all men liberally and without reproach, I think it's, if I quote it right. James, it's in the book of James, and I think it's, so there's an argument that wisdom comes directly from God, that he's got all the wisdom available, and you can get it from him sort of as a little package for free, and he won't tell you off. So I don't know, I think it's good if you're a praying person, pray for wisdom maybe. Are proverbs or sayings useful in everyday lives?
Yeah, I think so. I think we probably all use them. And of course, our mothers will tell us something, or you always have some kind of repeated phrase that will maybe encourage you, or maybe it will inspire you to make the right decision.
Yeah, my mom's got a good phrase. I don't think it's a proverb, but it almost is in our family. She says, when it's eaten, it's eaten. So if you ask her, can I have a piece of cake, or can I have a biscuit? She'll say, well, when it's eaten, it's eaten.
But that could be for life, right? I mean, once something is done, it's done, and you can't have it. It's
very simple, but actually it's very philosophical. Like, once you eat your cake, there's another phrase, you can't have your cake and eat it. And it's kind of based on that, I suppose. And, if you eat something, that's it. You've spent, it's gone. So, one shot. at doing something, I
Oh,
guess.
that's different because ours is you can't have your cake and eat it too, which means you can have the cake, but you can't eat it. You can't have everything you want in life. That's what that means.
Well, yeah, and my mum used to tell me, I think mostly when I was a boy and wanted toys, she used to tell me you can't get everything you want, which I thought is a good lesson, and I sometimes repeat it. I repeat things that my mum and dad have taught me. And mostly my dad sang jingles from the TV, and I still sing them myself, and to my wife sometimes as well. But yeah, so I think too, I will agree with you. I think Proverbs and sayings, we don't maybe not necessarily think of them as proverbs, but they're useful if they're applied correctly. They're quite useful, and I think parents like them too, because they can sort of, well, this is the right way to do it, and they can talk to their child and give them a little word of advice, which hopefully they'll listen to better if it's in proverb or saying form, and they'll remember it maybe too. So do you often use proverbs, sayings, or quotes?
I don't know. I probably repeat myself all the time. And I think my daughter probably could say, oh, you always said that. And I go, really? I didn't know I said that. So I'm sure there were things that I said constantly.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And yeah, so as you know, well, I'm starting to take up some of what my mom has taught me. And I'll probably add more to it as well. So I must say, I read the book of Proverbs from the Bible every day, and some of them I remember and apply. So I might not necessarily quote them to someone else, and I might, but I'll often remember one or two of them, in when I need them, and sort of. So I think maybe I don't always speak them as often as I remember them for myself, because I think I need something to understand certain situations at times. So yeah, I might use them myself.
That reminds me of my Aunt Amelia, who always told me, now Barbara, don't forget your sweater. Mm-hmm. And that means in Santa Cruz, California, it would always be cold, even in the summertime. Once the sun goes down, it's cold, and you can't go out without your sweater. So that is one thing I always say.
So it's kind of like be prepared.
Yeah.
Is it about Boy Scouts? Be prepared.
The Boy Scouts, be prepared.
Very sexist, Boy Scouts.
Boy Scouts, well.
I'm joking. And it reminds me when you said that, there's a phrase, and it's kind of old English. Don't shed a clout till May is out. A clout is meaning a piece of clothing in this context. So don't take off a piece of clothing until May is finished, in other words. So I don't know if it's necessarily true. It depends how many clothes you're wearing, but to start with. But it's quite a good advice. Be careful during the spring. It might be warmer, but you could get caught out. And I think it's good advice for Siberia too. Because the weather can be changeable. So you have to be careful. Okay, I like this question. Does age and experience guarantee wisdom?
Oh, yeah. We're supposed to be getting smarter and more wise as we age. And I think there must be a proverb for this, and you probably can find something in the Bible about it. But that is, you shouldn't talk so much. A wise person kind of keeps quiet a little bit more. And I probably am learning to probably not talk so much and just don't say everything.
Sit back and observe. Yeah. I think, there's something in the Bible actually, quick to listen and slow to speak.
That's very good.
Which is, I think, good advice. Yeah. So we can sometimes, or maybe I can speak too quickly. I don't know. But, as far as age, I think it's generally expected that someone with experience has wisdom, because maybe they've done it the wrong way, or maybe they've done it the right way, and they've learned from that. Or maybe they've seen someone else. I sometimes learn from others, because you see a mistake another person made, and you may have done it yourself, but then you see, oh, they made that mistake, right, I better avoid that. So I think I think with experience you can get wisdom, but it's not guaranteed. Because I met an older man who was giving me advice one time in the church where I was going to, and honestly, I thought his advice was really, really bad, really bad advice, and not even good in any regard. And he's much older than I was, and just really, really bad advice. But he was testing
your wisdom to see whether or not you're going to follow his advice.
So I just kind of nodded and was friendly to him. He was a nice enough guy, but I didn't follow his advice at all.
I have this similar situation where in my 20s, I would see someone in their 40s and I'd think, okay, this person really knows everything. And you listen to someone talk and you go, oh, we don't know anything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think it's not guaranteed at all with age and experience, but it is more likely.
Yeah. But now wisdom really does rely on making those right choices, good judgment, right choices. I think, and you can be young and make good decisions.
Yeah, that's true. You could have a young person who's wiser than an older person. So I guess it's not guaranteed, but I think I will say about myself that I was, as a boy and even as a young man, I wasn't as wise as I feel I am now. I'm not saying I'm wise, but I've improved. Let's say.
I think we both improved.
Yeah, I was quite silly, I think, at times, and I look back and think, why did I do that? But so I think experience and age can help, but it doesn't guarantee it.
The way that we can pacify ourselves is that everybody says stupid things. Everybody has done stupid things.
Yeah.
And we just have to learn from them and become wiser.
Even Donald Trump. Maybe especially Donald. Okay, I just thought of him, yeah. Okay, so we're going to look at a few Proverbs. We kind of introduced the topic adequately, have we?
Yes.
I think we can move on. So we're assuming these are wise. We're going to find out if they are. So we're going to evaluate a few Proverbs initially, which are quite commonly known. And we'll think about how we might use them, when they apply, when they don't apply, and if there's a personal situation where we could use them or could have used them. So let's have a look. A bad workman always blames his tools.
Ah, yes, that definitely applies to me.
Right.
So in ballet, you'll always have, no matter what age, when you studied ballet, your teacher has always said, it's not the shoes or it's not the floor.
Right.
And so doing some ballet research on some things I was writing, I found this 18th century teacher named Johansson, who in this script was saying that he made a puddle on the floor of his classroom, and he expected the dancers to be able to dance through the puddle.
Okay.
And he said, it's not the puddle that makes the dancer. And so it's funny how it's been really brought down generation by generation. So I think, it's not the shoes, not the floor, you're just a bad dancer.
So, not being a dancer myself, if you saw me, you'd be cringing, but this might apply literally to tools for me. I mean, I'm not a workman, but as a guy, I'm expected to know how to use a hammer and a screwdriver and, a few other instruments. And I can. I mean, I can use a hammer and a screwdriver at least. But if I'm doing something, and I can remember, but I don't remember specifics, but I can remember being told by my dad or my mom, a bad workman blames his tools. It's sort of half joking, but at the same time true. If I'm doing something and it's not turning out well, my mom or dad would say, a bad workman blames his tools. If you say, I can't work with this brush or this screwdriver's not so good, my mom would say, a bad workman blames his tools. And I think there's a lot of truth in it, but if your screwdriver is really old and, if it is worn, or if you're a workman out on the streets and your jackhammer, this mechanical hammer, pneumatic hammer is broken, or if it's very, very old, I think it can't apply to that situation. If it's very, very old equipment that has been worn down, then of course, then you've got some reason to complain. But
Well, I agree with that because I didn't actually remember this, but I changed the tradition. To my students, I'd say, if they're doing something that's not good, and I go, okay, now be careful because there's something on the floor, there's a dip there.
Yeah.
Or I say, okay, let me see your shoes. Oh, those are really bad shoes. You need to get another pair.
right. So maybe it's not as commonly said today as it used to. I mean, if you've got skill, you can work with poor tools or poor instruments, but I think so maybe there's some truth that a skilled workman.
I don't know, but
can
because
still do it.
Aristotle said you have to have the right tools.
Yeah.
In order to do something, you have to have the right tools.
He's contradicting it completely.
Yeah, he is.
So maybe there's a wisdom for it, but not for every situation, yeah. Okay, next one. Actions speak louder than words.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
Right?
And what does it mean?
Yeah.
Can you explain?
What are you going to? Are you going to actually do it, or are you just going to sit there and
Right.
and talk? I'm this, I'm that. Oh, really?
So
Then show
if I
me.
go home and then say, tell my wife, I'm home earlier, I'll make you dinner. I mean, that's great. She might say thanks. That's great. That'll be helpful and whatever. And that will be good. I just said I'll make dinner. But if I don't actually do it, if I don't act on it, then she'll come home and she'll be quite upset. I
Well,
think she'll be
sometimes people
disappointed.
like to get that credit. I'm going to do this. I
Yeah.
will do this. And then,
Yeah.
oh, thank you. Well, I don't need to do it. I've gotten the appreciation already.
Sometimes you can get a promise and then, the promise you really appreciate, even if you didn't expect it. And then it turns out later that, oh, hang on, they promised but didn't deliver, and I think that person loses credit, So I think action speaks louder than words. I mean, for example, my wife, if I tell her every day I love her, but I never help her, I mean, that would be bad. I mean, there's another phrase, hugs and kisses don't do dishes. I mean, if I didn't help her out, but told her I love you, but I didn't do anything for her, I think she would suddenly say, well, hang on, Samuel, do you really love me? Because you didn't help me with that. I'm doing all the cleaning myself. There's this heavy box and you haven't lifted it, So, I mean, you have to act, I think, on whatever. Put your money where your mouth is. Mm-hmm. Put your money where your mouth.
It might be some kind of proverb about dreamers, to dream something, but really actually carry it out.
Mm-hmm. Right. I have a dream. You have a dream, but if you don't do anything, then you're just the same as every other dreamer. Beauty is in the eye of the beholder.
Yeah, that's a big philosophical question of what is art. Is it? What is art?
Yeah, it can apply to art. I guess it could apply to ballet dancing too.
Yeah.
Like the form and then, the beauty. There's a beauty in it, in the dance. And, well, I tend to think of it as, one person will look at a guy or a girl or a lady and think he or she is beautiful. Whereas the next person will say, no, she's not, or he's not. To me, and maybe, I think there's some truth in it that I think we can all appreciate some things as beautiful. And I mean, certain nature and certain maybe dancing in some way, we can all appreciate and can say it's beautiful, but I think different people appreciate it to different levels as well.
That reminds me of a neighbor I had who would rescue dogs. Mm-hmm. And he'd say, look at my new dog. And I said, oh, yeah, where did you get her? Oh, I just got him out the pound. And I said, well, what made you choose her? Mm-hmm. And he said, well, look at her. And I think, well, this dog has this long snout. Yeah. And I didn't particularly think, and just brown and black, nothing in particular, sweet. Yeah. But I wouldn't have chosen that dog. I would have chosen, something else. But look at her. Of course, can't you see it?
Yeah, exactly. And there's some dogs that I will say, oh, that's not a pretty dog.
Oh, but good thing their family loves that doggy.
Yeah. And dogs deserve to be loved.
Yes, they do.
You reap what you sow. Have you heard of that one?
Yeah, and sometimes you sow and you still don't reap.
It can happen. Maybe you have to wait a bit longer to reap. So reap what you sow. Whatever you put in, whether good or bad, you kind of get out the same, whatever energy, whatever
I think that's
talent.
what I've told my students and probably my daughter is that you've got to work hard, but you still might not get it.
Right, because so it's maybe not true for every situation.
Yeah, it's kind of a downer, but it's realistic, So actually stick with it,
Yeah. So, well, I could apply this. I've been sketching at times throughout the year, doing little sketches with pen or maybe sometimes with pencil. And sometimes, very often, in fact, I do like very quick sketches and I don't use a reference. And I tend to do it from mind or memory, and I kind of don't get the results that I love. But I like it, but I don't love it. But then when I use a reference, go online and find a picture and maybe take a bit more time and use a pencil and then a pen, I put more effort in. I actually get a better result. I'm happier with the result. So I think in that respect, you put more effort in, you can get a more satisfying result. So I think maybe it
if
could
you
be
had a
applied
better
to that.
tool, you probably could do it better too.
A bad workman, no. Pencils are great though. Simple pencil is actually better than using a pen, actually, and then you use a pen after, and tidy it up a bit. But okay, so that was well-known proverbs, and some of these ones maybe not so well-known, and they're from different parts of the world too. And the first one is Welsh. The best candle is understanding.
Yeah, I don't know that one.
I don't know it either, but I found it. And, what do you think it means? How would it be applied?
It's about a candle, and then candles melt down when you burn them, and then they get kind of squishy and they don't stand
But what does a candle do?
It shows you light. It shows you the way.
It shows you the way. It shows you what you should do maybe, or where you need to go. Especially if you're living in a house without electricity, which we shouldn't anymore, but...
And people's faces glow nicely in the candlelight.
True, yeah. So it kind of illuminates the situation, if I can say that. And so I think, understanding illuminates your situation. So the best candle is understanding.
You got it. I think so.
I think we nailed it. We understood it. Maybe I'll use that one sometime. I like it, actually. The next one is Cuba, from Cuba. Another good one, I think. Cheese, wine, and friends must be old to be good.
Oh, I like that one.
So the older generation will love this one.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah? And soon I'll be loving it. Cheese, wine, and friends must be old to be good. And I, even in my youth, younger youth, if I can say that, I had good friends that were older men, retired men, and we had good times together, adventures and stuff. So maybe there's a truth in it. Do you think it?
We say, I'm not getting older, I'm getting better.
I'm maturing.
Yes.
Like a cheese or
like
wine.
a fine wine.
Mm-hmm. So maybe the Cubans have got something.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
And they're not so youth-oriented as we are in America.
Mm-hmm. Right. So Zimbabwean proverb, right? So we're over to Africa now. We've been to Wales and to Cuba, and now we're going to Zimbabwe. So I think this is probably a cultural thing for Zimbabweans. I'm not sure, but if you can walk, you can dance. I think you'll like this one. You like dancing. If you can talk, you can sing. Say that. If you can walk, you can dance. If you can talk, you can sing.
Sounds like there's a but after that.
That's it. No, that's the proverb. Well, what I think it's talking maybe about health. If you're healthy enough to walk, then you can dance. So like my 94-year-old grandmother can walk, so maybe she can dance. Maybe not just as energetic and jump up and down as much as I could, but maybe she can dance too. And if she can talk, then she can sing. So I think maybe it's
and then
to do
the
with...
other person would have to say, beauty's in the eye of the beholder, right?
But how does that connect?
Because a professional singer, a professional dancer might not think so.
Right.
So they'll become very judgmental, you see.
Well, yeah, but it's maybe only for you. You can dance, but it's only for you. It's not for performance.
Okay, so that would be good. You'd have to add a little bit, something kind of a little appendage to that.
Yeah.
But then like I would love to be able to sing, but I can't sing.
Okay. Figaro. No, not so well. So maybe between the both of us, we can be a performance. You can dance, I can sing.
Okay.
I'm not saying I can sing well, but I can. Oh, it's not terrible. It's not terrible.
I can't say I can do much anymore. Anyway.
An Irish proverb next. The work praises the man.
I like that.
Very short, very simple.
Yeah, those Irish really
The work
know.
praises the man. Oh,
Yeah.
the Irish have got some wisdom. And even Northern Irish sometimes too.
Oh.
The work praises the man. So
I like it. I like that very much.
what do you think it means?
That's the what you've just produced. You don't have to say, "Oh, look at me, I've done this." You could just wait till the passerby say, "Oh, you've really done something. You achieved something in your life or in an artistic project." Right. Oh, yeah.
So a guy or a lady, not girl, needs to doesn't need to blow his own trumpet, and say how great he or she is. It can just say, well, here's what I've produced. You decide. Yeah, something like that. So
that's humbleness, and that makes you a better person anyway.
Yeah. So I like that one.
Yeah.
I really like that one,
I really
actually.
like that.
Yeah. Okay. We're traveling over to Mexico now. Not so far from the States, yeah. It's not enough to learn how to ride. You must also learn how to fall. So you don't just learn how to ride, you should learn how to fall. Fall. Yeah. So I guess it's maybe for a bicycle or maybe more a horse.
Oh, I thought you said right.
A ride.
Right.
Yeah. Oh, my accent. It must be my accent.
Yeah.
It must be my accent. What what accent is that? I'm not sure.
Yeah.
It's my Northern Irish accent, so it is. All right. You can't understand what I'm saying.
Well, I like that, definitely, because you're projecting yourself to failure, because that's what happens when you try to do things.
Right.
And recover, being resilient,
Yeah.
definitely.
Get back up on the horse, as they say, and so on. Yeah, so it is quite good, actually. There's a wisdom to it, because in anything, whether it's learning English or learning Russian, or learning to ride a bike, or in anything, absolutely anything, ballet, dancing, whatever it is, you're gonna fail or feel a failure at some stage, in the process, and maybe even after. So yeah, it's good to learn how to fall.
Because now you have to learn how to fall properly, because someone could say fall this way and then you actually fall another way, and that doesn't work.
Right. Goalkeepers as well. Goalkeepers need to learn how to fall literally.
Yeah, you mean like in ice skating?
Or in football, soccer.
Right.
As well.
Right.
I mean, those guys.
So I was ice skating, and they gave us a whole lesson on how to fall, and we're supposed to bend our knees and fall to the side.
Right.
So I practiced that, and I was really good at falling on the ice.
Right.
But then when I fell backwards and broke my wrist.
Oh goodness! So it's definitely important to learn. Over to Turkey now. We're really traveling the world today. Even though you know 1,000 things, ask the man who knows one.
Okay, an expert, right?
Yeah. Well, say you know 1,000 pieces of information, how to do 1,000 jobs, but you see a man who knows how to do one, and maybe you can learn something from him. He doesn't have the knowledge you have. I mean, you know 1,000 things. He only knows one thing. But you can learn that one thing from him. And then if you go to 1,000 people, you've learned 2,000 things in total.
So is that good or bad?
Yeah, I think you can. I mean, I think what it's saying is you might be very knowledgeable, but you could still learn from someone who's much less knowledgeable. There's something that they could benefit. You could benefit
from. To me,
from.
I'm thinking of some kind of like spy work or military, where you only know one little aspect of this big secret.
Right. Yeah.
So in order for you to put together this big secret, you have to go to each one and gather that information.
It sounds like a spy phrase.
Yeah, to me it's...
Even though you know 1,000 things. Yes. And then the next person says, ask the man who knows one. Yeah. Maybe it's happening in Turkey right now, that spies are working. Yeah. Well, I think it's more about gaining knowledge from someone, even though they seem like they don't know very much. You could still learn something.
Maybe they have some wisdom, right?
Yeah, they have something there. Italy. if you can't live long, live deeper.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's about enjoying life or getting the best out of life.
Yeah, not doing things just surfaced.
Mm-hmm.
Just get in there and really enjoy it.
Yeah.
Learn something on a deep level. Mm-hmm. Throw your iPad away. Throw your cell phone away.
Maybe not completely away. Just
maybe not.
Set it down somewhere. Yeah. Japan now. Fall 7 times. Well, this is kind of like before a little bit. Fall 7 times, stand up 8.
Yeah, definitely.
And I think we can get that. So, as long as you stand up more times than you've fallen, you'll be successful. You keep going, in other words. A Chinese proverb. A bird does not sing because it has an answer. It sings because it has a song. That's quite nice.
That's nice.
I don't know what wisdom is from that. I'm not sure, but
well, to me, it made me take a nice deep breath. It has something to do with beauty and producing something and saying something. It's like, okay, if you don't have anything to say, then just don't say anything. Could it be that?
Maybe it's someone can sing though they don't have the answer. They just they have a song to sing. They have something to say, but it might not be the answer. Could that be? So I don't know if it's warning you or if it's just telling about people will speak or people will sing and, watch out for them.
I guess it depends on what kind of bird, right?
Yeah. Well, I'm thinking of a little sparrow.
A little sparrow. Then
sitting in the tree.
Okay. Well, if it's a big one, like quack, 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 because that would alert you. So that would be the proverb to really, you got to pay attention to and heed. The little sparrow, just listen to it sing.
I guess it's more like that. Okay, England now. Closer to home for me. Some men go through a forest and see no firewood. So they're walking through the forest and they can't see any firewood that's useful. I think it's about someone who, there are lots of opportunities, but they haven't seized it. They don't recognize the opportunities. I think you can gain a lot if you recognize the opportunities.
Yeah, what is that? Carpe diem, seize the day?
Right, carpe diem. Yeah, that's right. So, is that Latin? Latin. Yeah, that's right. And a Russian one to finish, because we can't leave out Russian and go to all those other places. There is no shame. I'm going to say it in English. There is no shame in not knowing. The shame lies in not finding out. So I think what it's saying is, don't be ashamed if you don't have the knowledge. Especially if you're young or if you're learning. The embarrassment or the shame should be when you don't find out. In modern times that would be Google it, and which actually, working in engineering, and even doctors, I think they have to learn, they have to Google, they have to, well, maybe not always Google, but they go to places and get information and find out facts and find out the correct standards or whatever.
Yeah, the studies that have been made that they can.
Yeah, a doctor, an engineer, they're always learning, so it's not about how much knowledge they can retain. It's about having it available or finding it out in some cases to apply to the right situation. So,
and that will keep one youthful too, because you don't want to be just sedentary. You want to keep inquisitive, ask questions, learn.
Every day is a school day.
Yeah, I like those Russians.
Okay, so which were your favorite?
I don't know. I think the one about the song.
Yeah,
I like that one.
A bird does not sing because it has an answer. It sings because it has a song.
It has something to express.
Yeah,
I think that.
Yeah, it's nice. It's nice, and I think it's got. I don't really fully understand the meaning, but I think it's got more than one level.
Probably so.
But I like the simplicity of the Irish one. The work praises the man. I like that one.
I think you're a little biased.
Maybe.
But I do like that one.
Yeah. So, guys, that was the crack about proverbs from around the world. We talked a little bit about the difference between being smart and being wise. We talked about the use of proverbs and sayings. Do we use them? Do we use them every day? Do we use them with family and friends and so on? Does age and experience guarantee wisdom? Well, we kind of think no, not necessarily. And we looked at some of the common proverbs and then some of the world proverbs and discussed them for you. So, guys, that was the crack about proverbs from around the world.